Fire ants, nature's way of saying, hey, your day was going too well. These little guys aren't just ants, they're tactical strike teams with 6 legs, a bad attitude, and a venom arsenal that would make a scorpion jealous. Fire ants, small, scrappy, and spectacularly annoying. They've been described as nature's alarm clock, showing up when you least expect them and leaving you wide awake, questioning how such tiny creatures can make you feel so powerless. But don't underestimate these fiery little invaders. Their story is as fascinating as it is frustrating. Let's dive deep into the world of fire ants, where science, survival, and a touch of chaos collide. Let's talk origins, because every villain has an origin story. Fire ants belong to the genus Solenopsis, specifically Solenopsis invicta, which translates to the invincible. Yeah, someone actually named them that. These ants originated in South America, where they've been thriving for millions of years. But in the 1930s, they decided to branch out, literally. They hitched a ride to the United States on cargo ships, sneaking into the southern states like tiny, stinging stowaways. Now, they've spread across the southern United States and are continuing their conquest. They've even reached parts of Asia, Australia, and the Caribbean. Fire ants are like that one band that nobody invited to the party, but they showed up anyway and won't leave. What makes fire ants so special? Let's start with their colonies. A single fire ant colony can house anywhere from 100,000 to 250,000 ants. Imagine a football stadium full of ants, and you're starting to get the picture. At the center of all this chaos is the queen. She's basically the Beyoncé of the ant world, and she runs the show. A single queen can live up to 7 years and lay around 1,500 eggs per day. That's 10,500 eggs a week, 45,000 eggs a month, and over 500,000 eggs a year. If you're thinking, that's a lot of baby ants, you're absolutely right. These colonies don't just appear randomly. Fire ants are master builders. Their mounds can grow up to 18 inches tall and extend several feet underground. Think of them as ant high-rises, complete with intricate tunnel systems for ventilation, food storage, and nurseries. And while the mounds might look like innocent piles of dirt, stepping on one is like ringing a dinner bell for an army of angry ants. Let's talk about their stings, because that's what fire ants are most infamous for. When a fire ant bites, it's just getting a grip on you. The real magic happens when it stings. Fire ants inject venom called solenopsin, an alkaloid that causes a burning sensation and itchy pustules. It's like nature's way of saying, don't touch me, but on steroids. And they don't just sting once. Oh no, fire ants will latch on and sting multiple times, often in unison with their buddies. It's like a synchronized swimming team, except with venom and pain. Their venom isn't just painful. It's a chemical cocktail designed for survival. It can kill small prey and ward off predators. In humans, a single sting is usually just annoying, but for some people, it can trigger severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Fire ants don't mess around. One of the most fascinating things about fire ants is their teamwork. If their colony floods, they'll form a living raft by linking their bodies together. This raft can float on water for days, carrying the queen and the brood to safety. It's like the ant version of the Titanic, except everyone survives and nobody's hogging the floating door. Fire ants are omnivores, which means they'll eat pretty much anything. Plants, insects, small animals, even your sandwich if you're not paying attention. They're also scavengers, which is a fancy way of saying they clean up dead stuff. In their native habitats, this makes them important contributors to the ecosystem. But in non-native areas, their aggressive feeding habits can disrupt local ecosystems, outcompete native ants, and even harm crops and livestock. Let's not forget their aggressive nature. Fire ants are territorial and will defend their colony with everything they've got. Disturb a fire ant mound, and you'll see what I mean. They'll swarm out like an angry mob, climbing anything in their path and delivering painful stings. It's like the insect version of an overzealous security team. Humans have been trying to deal with fire ants for decades. Methods range from chemical treatments and bait traps to more creative solutions, like pouring boiling water into their mounds. That last one feels more like vengeance than pest control, but hey, whatever works. Despite these efforts, fire ants are incredibly resilient. They adapt to new environments, survive extreme conditions, and even develop resistance to some pesticides. They're basically the cockroaches of the ant world. Interestingly, fire ants aren't all bad. In their native habitats, they play an important role in the ecosystem. They help aerate soil, prey on agricultural pests, and break down organic material. It's a classic case of great in moderation. But in areas where they're invasive, their benefits are overshadowed by their destructive tendencies. So what have we learned? Fire ants are tough, tenacious, and surprisingly complex. They're masters of teamwork, engineering, and survival, but they're also aggressive invaders with a painful sting and a bad reputation. Love them or hate them, you've got to respect their hustle. Just maybe keep your distance, and definitely don't poke their mounds.